Oftentimes in the world of touring event production, we find ourselves having to string together a lot of shows and a lot of travel in a short period of time, and this weekend is no exception. I'm really thankful that I get to fill in on some of the shows that Eric can't do for Dylan Francis. In this instance, we are in Hawaii. The rest of the production crew got there a day before I did, so unfortunately didn't really get to enjoy a whole lot of the paradise that is Hawaii, but the whole production crew at Republic really made up for everything. They're a really great crew to work with. Plus, we had a nice, fun ground package of Vipers, JDC-1s, and Sharpies.
Well, good morning from Hawaii, but we're not staying here long. Today is the first day of a whole week that I'm going to be spending in China doing a show that I designed, and I'm going to be programming and operating. Next up, we're going to head over to the airport and head over to Shanghai. Let's go. So we're going to be spending the next week in Shanghai, and I'm going to try to record as much of it as possible. I think it'd be interesting to show you guys what it's like to put on a festival in a different country. I haven't really told anybody about it. In fact, there's only like 6 or 7 people that even know I'm doing this show. They're about to start boarding, so I'm going to head over to the plane, get situated, and get comfortable because it's going to be a 10-hour, 45-minute flight over to Shanghai. And good morning, everybody. It is the next day here in Shanghai. We ended up getting into the hotel a little later than I anticipated. It was already dark, and I hadn't slept except for getting like 2 little 2-hour blocks of plane sleep for the past like week and a half. So I ended up just getting some food with Tim. He's the guy who brought me out here, and then ended up pretty much passing out. So it is the next day. It's about 10 a.m. and we're gonna go check out the venue site here in a little bit. I'm gonna show you my hotel room and what I brought along with me on this trip to make it happen. So I'm just getting ready to pack up all my stuff to get going here, head out to the venue, but I'll give you a little quick tour. For the computers I brought on this trip, we've got the Razer Blade Pro 17-inch. That's the one with the GTX 1080 in it. This laptop's pretty new. Its only job really is to set up show control. It's a TC Supply piece of software that allows me to sync timecode with CDJs. This Razer pretty much acts as the graphics workhorse because it has that 1080 I mentioned in it. And I'll show you guys this too. This is the hard patch for the stage that we're going to go build. This contains information like the fixture ID, DMX patch, and the mode. This is the paperwork that we hand out to stagehands and people who are helping to build the stage so that they can get the right fixtures in the right place with the right mode. And then below the patch here we have one of my favorite parts of lighting, and that is making labels. These labels, they go on the actual fixtures themselves. I print them out on these like little Avery, I think it's their 5160 Easy Peel labels. They're made for like mailing letters to people and like printing out massive amounts of labels for envelopes, but I use them for fixtures, and I think I'll put together a little video on how I do that, but let's go over one of these and just see what the info is. So if we take a look at this fixture here, for instance, we can see we have a Turbly GL6. That is the type of fixture, and then below that, standard mode 39 channel. That is obviously the mode, the DMX mode of the fixture, and then the fixture ID number and the patch, as well as the location right underneath. You'll notice that there is power information missing from this, and that is because I handed off all of the power distribution and figuring all that out to the local company, because I don't know anything about China power and how different it is or how similar it might be to working in the United States, but I did not want to risk it. And besides, I was pretty much brought in as the programmer, operator, designer for this stage, and power doesn't really fall under my purview on this one. And since I'm out here for a week, this Pelican was in charge of carrying all of my tools that I couldn't really put in carry-on. I've since kind of swapped everything over to my smaller, normal Pelican that I use in my everyday life. That's this guy here. And this is a little cool little zipper divider that Pelican makes. In that upper left-hand corner, I've got, from left to right there, special Sharpies, not the lighting fixture, the actual writing instrument, different kind of instrument, earplugs, disto, a extra USB battery bank. In this container here, I have all my USB adapters, my USB drives, with the exception of the one that is in my pocket. If for whatever reason I lose that case, I will have all the documents and show files I need on my person. So I always make sure whenever I travel to keep a separate flash drive on my person or in my backpack, and not just everything in the Pelican. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little tour of the hotel room I'm going to be in for the next week while we do this show. I'm going to pack up and head over to our production meeting this morning, and then take you guys over, and we'll get to see the venue for the first time. Let's check it out. So I just got on site, and I realized that you guys haven't seen the stage yet, so I figured I would give you guys your first little glimpse at it under construction. So here we have it. It's 52 universes of fixtures, which is quite a lot. I'm really surprised with how far along they are with everything. It's really quite impressive. I was expecting to have to be climbing up there like those guys who are hanging some lights. I was fully expecting that I would have to be up there as well. I brought all my tools, but it looks like I don't have to do that today. In fact, we've got 2 more days, 2 more full days, and then a whole night left before we have to be show ready. And I would say that by tomorrow night, we're going to be fully ready to start programming and getting ready for our touring LDs, because we have some pretty big acts on this show. Kygo, Kashmir, Don Diablo, Deadmau5, a couple others that I'm missing. Oh yeah, and Zomboy, of course, duh. And so I'm really excited to be putting it all together. Christian for Tim.
Copy that, brother.
Most of the work you will see on my channel and what I post online is the work I do as a lighting programmer and a lighting operator. Now, this is kind of special for me because this is my first higher profile design gig that I've landed. Tim from Dawnstage messaged me about a year before what you're seeing happen in the video right now. And he really served as the liaison, as production manager between me and the local lighting and video crews to make sure that everything happened that I put down on paper. So I'm really thankful for him bringing me out and, you know, being the middleman and working really late nights to make sure that this all got put together. It really is a whole lot different seeing something in real life that you've really only seen in renderings before, and this is by far the biggest stage that I've had the opportunity to design and have my own creative input on.
It's funny, some things never change, no matter where you are in the world. It's like the gross haze, oily fan, yeah. This part of the stage is going to be interesting.
I gotta pause the video right here just to take a moment to bask in the glory that is this freeze frame. You can see here we've got these truss structures that are using straps, ratchet straps, to secure them to their vertical supports and no base plates whatsoever. Now, if you've worked on any sort of production stateside, you know this would probably never ever fly. It's things like this that you just kind of notice when you do shows in other countries, that you see a lot of bare wires, a lot of structural things like this. And of course, we all know that these should have corner blocks properly torqued down and then base plates to distribute the load along this wooden stage floor.
We have LED wall that goes below each of these truss segments, just like one strip thick. And then on this top rail, we've got some infinite pan tilt fixtures called the D5BS. It's like an Elation or Arteon knockoff.
So next up, we headed over to our second stage, the powerhouse stage, to meet up with the lighting vendors, I guess production team managers. They're the ones who know about the build, direct the local stagehands into building the actual stage and placing lights, addressing things, getting power. And we kind of went over the plot and shared information, which was actually rather difficult to do because no one here really speaks any English to any sort of practical level. And of course, I don't speak Chinese, so a whole lot of this was done via Tim serving as a translator, which he's excellent at, and sharing photos and translating text through the app called WeChat, which I had no idea, but it is basically the only social media app that matters in China, and it's pretty much used for everything from communication to social media to watching videos to buying and selling things. So Whitney was my main contact from the lighting company, and she spoke English actually to a decent enough level to where we could understand basics of what we needed from each other. And we spent a few minutes here getting organized and getting her the information that she needed, and making sure that everything was going to go smoothly for the rest of the build. Now that I had gotten on site and seen the stage and the progress of the build, I felt a whole lot more comfortable with how the show was going. And that's really what today was all for, meeting the different people who are going to be in charge of various aspects of the build, making sure that the build has the resources needed to make sure that the show can actually work, and then start kind of working on what I can while the build is going up. And really my job for this whole show is to make sure everything is assembled the way that it is drawn, and make sure that the networking and the DMX distribution works out the way that I've planned it to. And then also operate the show for acts that do not have their own LDs.
I really want to take a look at these.
Actually, those are
These are splitters,
those are split, yeah.
and these are the nodes. So we got 4 and then 4.
Here.
Okay,
They said they're going to put. Now I think they're doing.
that's
4 each
terrifying.
side.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think they're doing
That-
4 each
yeah,
side.
that's how it's
So
split
it looks
anyways,
like
so.
there's a box of them here. So they bought those yesterday. So this is your
Perfect.
node world. I remember what you said in one of your videos. It's like how you started to learn is the first thing you learn is signal flow.
Yeah.
Once you load that, then you can
work it
really
all
start
backwards.
tweak.
Yeah.
You can start tweaking and come up with new ideas.
All right, these are the only fixtures I haven't had a chance to see in person yet, and oh, these are way bigger than I thought. Look at these. So these are the ones that I have on top of the DJ booth triangles, and let's take a few out because the crew is still building the stage over there, and I kind of wanted to fill my time until we get everything powered on and I can actually do something by checking these lights out and maybe making sure the profiles work as I wrote them. We've done pretty much all we can do on site here, so Tim's gonna take us back to the hotel, and we'll come back a little later tonight and write some fixture profiles now that we have access to the fixtures and we'll have power. And what better way to get back to the hotel than scooter?
We returned to the main stage later that evening to find that the DJ booth was really coming along quite nicely. That was the most important part for me to get right off the get-go, because it really is the centerpiece of the stage, and making sure that the fixtures are aligned properly and that it looks symmetrical and fits perfectly with the DJ booth on top. That was my number one priority.
So they're out there testing our second stage, the LED strips. We've kind of got a graveyard of these D5 BS fixtures. They're putting them up on the truss as we speak. This part of the build is going to be pretty fluid with its construction, I guess you could say. The big variables were that we didn't know how large these fixtures were, because the schematics weren't available online at the time that I made the design. So we're just going to try to populate these trusses on the top rail with as many of these fixtures as possible. And then underneath that we've got the P8 LED wall here. And right now they're securing some extra layer pipe to make sure this doesn't tip over when we start loading these front rails with truss, or front rails of the truss with lights. One other thing that happened while we were gone is these trusses. One other thing that happened while we were gone is these trusses were put in the wrong position. Their positions were swapped, so obviously the upstage truss needs to be at a higher angle, because otherwise this downstage truss is going to pretty much block all of the lights from the back. So we got the guys up there fixing that right now. They're just going to move that entire truss down to about head level so that it matches the drawing. Apparently the scenic, the dimensions were a little different, so they did everything right according to the scenic, but it needs to look right, not just be right according to the scenic that we were given. Perfect. That is perfect. I thought it'd be cool maybe to do lights from up here. Maybe they'll let me put the MA up here and we can just look over everybody. So you can see we've got rain covers up there on the Turbly GL6. Those are our like spot fixtures that we're using on the show to give texture to the stage. So these guys up here are going to be cross shooting over to that wall-ish area, as well as up top. We've got some out in the front of house riser to do that on the wings as well. And these Turbly GL6s, I'm excited to turn one on and see how it compares to the Elation Picasso. I demoed the Picasso a couple weeks ago, and it's really kind of uncanny how much these Turbly GL6s look like the Picasso. So we'll see how they perform. Tim's doing a dance down there. What's up, Tim? Show you guys our front of house setup. These are real MA2s. Look at that, guys. I think they even have serial numbers and everything. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I checked. Everything is legit. I was like one of my no-show contingencies. If they didn't have real MAs, I wasn't going to do the show. And they went and done got me 3 of them. With 2 of our NPUs, we're going to be using 1 as a spare. We only need 2 and a full size. Full size grants what, 8,100 and something, 4,096 times 2 plus
another 4,096 times 2 per, because I get 4,096 per NPU. And we have a stage that is just north of 15,000 parameters. So we're good on the parameter count front, and this is the prep file for that stage. And what I'm going to do now, since we don't have any generators powering the stage right now, so instead what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab one of each fixture type and just make sure all the profiles act as a touring LD would want them to act, so that when our guests get here, everything plays nicely with their cloning file. So we're going to get a couple of those fixtures, bring them out here, plug them into the console, and that's pretty much going to be our workload for tonight. Spend a couple hours just tweaking everything in the profiles. That's what's on our docket for tonight.
At this point, we still did not have power to our distro racks, and really only had, I believe, one circuit of power available for both the floodlighting, so that people could see the stage that they were building, and a line right out to front of house so I could power on the consoles. So all I could really do for the evening was bring some of the fixtures out to front of house and start making sure that the profiles worked properly. We didn't have enough power to turn on any smoke machines, but we ended up getting by just fine for the night. And that's going to wrap up this episode of the China Vlogs. We still have another day or two of prep, as well as the show days to go over, and I'll be looking forward to putting out those videos very soon. So make sure you stay subscribed, hit the like button, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.